Hey guys, just wanted to do a quick overview video on this Spyderco Manix2 with the blurple G10 scales in S110V steel. I think I've done a fair number of Manix2s on my channel, so I'm not going to have a super lengthy video talking about this knife because this is just a variant of the Manix2, which you guys have seen and talked about many times before, but this being the newer S110V with the G10 scales here, just wanted to do a little video on this to show you guys. I had this in for sharpening. So this particular knife is kind of interesting though because it has these milled out scale liners, which is something we've only seen, I believe, on some other sprint run Manixes, but not on a production model. And I have to say, this knife feels very light, very light in hand compared to a standard Manix. Not that a standard is super heavy, but you can definitely feel the weight reduction here in the handle scales here, guys, or the knife overall in general, I should say. Really like these pocket clips here they're putting on these. I think they're a tad different. Looks like the Spyder logo is a little darker outline than usual, I think, on these, which is kind of cool. Not sure if I've seen that before. Maybe I have, or I'm just forgetting, but kind of a nice little touch there. Adds a little bit of something there for the eye to see. Have to say the fit and finish on this knife is very good. There's one issue with this knife, which I'll talk about here in a second, but I can show you guys here. Blade centering is pretty much perfection. Everything fits very nicely together. I'll show you the action on this particular knife is very good, or the tolerances between the blade and the scales here is very nice. So you can crank down these pivot screws pretty much all the way. And this particular blade is a free dropper, guys, so you can see that. I believe that's the way that this pivot bushing was supposed to be from Spyderco. I believe it was designed that you could tighten down these pivot screws as tight as they could go, and you always get perfect, blade action, centering, things like that. But that's not always the case. There's definitely some knives out there, like paramilitary 2s and Manixes, that all use that pivot bushing. And if you tighten down these screws all the way, your blade's not going to open. It's going to be so tight it won't open for you. And that all has to do with the tolerances here, guys. It has to do with the relationship between the width of the blade tang, the handles, and the washers. And on some of my own knives, I've actually sanded down some of my washers, to kind of change those tolerances to make the blade a little more free in the handle there, which is the way it should have come from Spyderco. But things happen sometimes. Before I forget, there's a slight issue with the ball bearing lock in this knife, and I'm going to see if you guys can hear it. And I've seen this on several Manix2s. A couple of the lightweight versions and a couple other G10 handle scale models, but this is a new knife. It's practically brand new for all intensive purposes. But if you listen to this lock, if you guys can hear, of course there's an airplane flying overhead when I'm trying to have you guys hear something. So hang on here, guys. Give me a second. Let me go ahead and show you the edge here on this knife while I'm waiting for this plane to pass. There you go. You guys can see the nice polished edge that I put there with the Edge Pro. S110V is becoming one of my favorite steels. It holds an edge for a long time, and honestly I don't find it to be overly difficult to work with. It takes a little more effort to grind, but I mean it's not crazy. It takes a pretty good polish. Does not polish as well as some other steels out there, but you guys can see it takes pretty good polish, pretty good mirror polish. Maybe not quite as clear as some other steels, but you could probably get it there. It just take a lot of time, but comparatively speaking, not quite as good of a polish. Anyways, back to the lock. So anyway, I've seen this issue on many Manix knives, and I know a lot of these things, they kind of work themselves out over time. They kind of wear in, but let me see if you guys can hear this or not. But now my my air conditioner has kicked on. Hold on, guys. 1 second. Alright. Let's see if we can, really? Another airplane? Come on, man. Just not winning here today, guys. Just not winning. Alright, maybe finally I can show this to you guys. So, problem with the lock. A lot of these new Manixes, if you listen to them, when you disengage the lock, it has a click, and it's like a, the lock is catching on something, and it's not smooth. Can you hear that? That click? And it feels rough. It kind of feels like the lock is trying to overcome something. And I've investigated this issue a little bit, and it has nothing to do with the handle scales or the liners or the lock itself. It has to do with the way that ball bearing engages with the tang on the blade. And I've taken these blades out before and I've looked at them, and it seems to be that the little tang section, I'm not sure if I can show you guys. Actually, I think I can. If I can get this to focus. So this little tang section here, guys, right above my thumb, is it's not completely flat. It's actually a little concave. It's a little dished out, and I imagine that ball bearing is getting just kind of caught on that lip a little bit on this tang portion here of the blade. And I think over time that wears in, but then again, I've seen a couple of these from people that have used these knives for years, and the locks still stick after years and years of use. So, that's something I think Spyderco needs to address, particularly for their, higher end versions of, say, like the Manix2, where people are paying extra money for a more premium knife. You need to have that lock to be, silky smooth in its disengagement, because it just doesn't feel right. I don't believe it was intended to be that way, from the factory. I think something going on with their manufacturing process there. But comparatively speaking, I've seen similar issues in some Axis lock knives from Benchmade, but I'd say smoothness-wise, a lot of the Axis locks they come better than this, So I don't know, if this was my own personal knife, I would maybe consider sending this back to Spyderco and seeing if they could address that kind of lock stick issue that's in there. Otherwise, it's a very free dropping blade here. Lockup is tight. No play in the blade at all, side to side. Let me just do a little cut test here for you guys. This S110V always takes a a sharp, sharp edge. Super sharp. Oop. Hold on. Ooh. Couple little swoopy cuts there. But you can see, nice, very sharp, effortless cutting there. But anyways, this overview video has turned into a 10-minute video. I'm not sure how this video took so long, guys. But there you have it. The Manix2 S110V blurple G10. You know, I really hope Spyderco releases some different color variants for these handle scales. I really wanted to like these knives, but I don't know, just in most light to me, these handle scales look more purple than blue, and you know, I don't know. It's just I just don't care for the color that much. Like I said, I really wanted to like them, but you know, I would much rather like some more earth tones or something, or even more of, you know, just blue colors. If they did something like a I'm trying to think, what would the color name be? I don't know, even kind of more of like a teal looking blue or something. I think that would be way more popular than these kind of purpley looking handle scales. So, alright guys, hope you're doing well. I will see you guys soon. Thanks for watching.